Hi, everybody. Today's video discussion is about Mario versus Sonic. Who would win in a fight? Not really. We like a lot of things about Mario. We like a lot of things about Sonic, but we also dislike things about both. And we thought it'd be cool. It'd be fun to just talk about what each franchise could learn about each other. Today I have myself, Smoothies, and we also have Mikono's fan.
Hi, hello.
And Games Unlisted, Stefan.
Oh no.
Oh no. And we also have two patrons with us today. We have Derek MK.
Why am I still here?
I don't know. And Adrian the Awesome One.
Hello, everybody.
So I think that maybe most of us are probably in the same consensus as most of the sane people in the world in thinking that Mario games are probably of better quality and are maybe more consistently fun than Sonic games.
Yeah.
So let's just get that out of the way. But that's not to say one is better than the other, even though maybe I just said that. So there are no bullet points. There is no preparation for this. I am the one who decided to bring this topic up, and I brought nothing to the table, even though I said I would.
FTCR,
so this will be
baby.
great. Yeah, this will be great. So
I've prepared 2 softballs if you'd like an easy entrance to this.
oh my god, yes.
So, in the topic of what Mario and Sonic can learn from each other, my first bullet point, what Mario could learn from Sonic, is that...
Very expository. Sorry, go on.
In this essay, I will... No, I think, as much as we dunk on the Sonic social media 99% of the time these days, I think something Mario should take from Sonic, if we're talking about these as the collective employees behind them, right? I think the Sonic social media presence is a lot better at not only... I won't say engaging their fans because they don't really reply to anyone, but they're really good about, now and then having something out there that's made for the social media and is engaging to fans, such as like the music remakes or the memes that have obscure callbacks to really fucking obscure Sonic games and references. There's a reason to follow the Sonic Twitter, and it's because if you're a fan, they're going to appease you. Appease you is a weird word, but they're going to make something for you, and you're not going to get it from the games. Whereas, A, I don't think there's a Super Mario Twitter account, but B, if you follow Nintendo, it's all just like, this game's out today, look out for this direct, here's a sale going on. It's very
Professional.
buttoned up, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but I think once in a while what I would like to see the Mario series do is like,
Let loose?
yeah, like commission, someone to make like a remix of like an old Mario song. Excuse me, pardon that. But, stuff like that, like maybe acknowledge the kind of weirder, more fringe, forgotten aspects of Mario. Like, this is such an easy fucking thing they could do. If tomorrow, whoever runs Nintendo's Twitter account just posted an image of Hotel Mario with the bread and said all toasters toast or something like that, like that's such a fucking easy shit post, and it'd probably
They're
look
not
bad.
brave enough, Chris.
They're not brave
enough.
And I need them to gain courage. I think that's what they could learn from Sonic, is to let go just a little bit. I know it's Nintendo, they're super Disney buttoned up, but I would like to see them kind of play their hand a little more to that side of things.
You kind of say that, but like when you look at, say, something like with Smash Brothers, like on the Smash Brothers side, like not like to the extent of Sonic, but they are good with like playing like just letting loose and like doing like jokey stuff. But I think that's also more of like Sakurai himself is more so like he's open to being more goofy and laughing around and not taking like certain things more serious and trolling the audience as well. I mean, like all those trailers are just like that. Those aren't things that you think that you would see in like just traditional Mario marketing.
Yeah, these are more things created for the game than the social media side, but yeah. Well, I mean, they're made like for the reactions, but they're not made like for the Twitter specifically. But I see what you mean, though.
I have been more excited about the fabled Mario movie than I have been about the Sonic movie that we've already seen, simply because I know Nintendo are scrupulous with control, and Sega have been more loose, so there are downsides to Sega's looseness too,
Oh, right. Like, I definitely put a clear divider.
There's no
between,
quality control with Sega at all.
Right, I'm talking about just the social media specifically and making things for that.
Okay.
I'm not saying
Very
I'm not saying
specific.
Mario should
Right.
take overall Sonic exclusiveness because holy shit, that would destroy Mario in like a week. But
Right.
like microscoped into these very small things that don't matter, I would like to see Mario take a little more from that side.
My bad.
But
I kind of extrapolated on that too much.
You're not wrong.
You could also consider that as maybe a weakness too, because I mean, like a lot of problems with a lot of people's complaints with a lot of other Mario like stuff, and that they're like you mentioned, they're going a bit too safe. So the fact that the movie and they're doing it with Illumination, who it might probably be the safest of all of the animation studios currently working.
Probably.
Banana.
So it's like you're kind of worried. You're kind of like, oh, how hands-on, and because since this Illumination was very, whose whole thing is just being very safe and just kind of going like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're not gonna go too over the top in a way. We're gonna just be very tight, and a lot of times just making kind of very meh. That happened. Like, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if in the end maybe people go like, oh, the Sonic movie ended up being more like I don't think so, just because by nature of it being an animated movie, they're going to be able to do more. But just the fact that this is like we don't know exactly how controlled both sides of the plane are. It's just we're like it could very well be that Sonic himself. Just the nature of like how people like Sonic himself in the movie. They're like, oh, we like him more than we like Mario in that movie.
That's a possibility. I didn't even think of that.
I'm just going to come right out and say I'm an idiot, and I didn't even know that there was a Mario movie happening.
Made by Illumination.
Okay, do we know anything about like the actual like
Nope.
the actual like content to the movie, or is it literally just Mario movie
No, it's
will
not.
exist?
It's Illumination making it. I think the plan is to either come out is probably 2022 or 2023, and it's all because since Nintendo has their deal with Universal to make the Universal world, and since Illumination is owned by Universal, that's why that deal happened.
Huh, okay. I have no idea what a Mario movie would look like at this point.
Mario doesn't talk. Like, what do you do?
yeah.
He says a Dougaladago.
I mean, they did make Minions.
Oh, that's right. They did make minions, and they don't talk.
Oh no.
Banana.
Holy shit, Stefan, you're blowing my mind.
I still feel like Sony would have probably been the best people to make a Mario movie just because their animation style just seems like the perfect fit for a goofy, like just completely bonkers Mario movie.
You would have to do that. You would have to make it like entirely off the wall for it to work even like.
So, because Sonic and Mario are not just games, they are like entities at this point. They're like the faces of companies. They're even like TV shows. I don't think it's fair to compare Sonic TV to Mario TV because Mario TV is like short and few between. We got an anime where Mario falls asleep, and we have the American Super Mario Brothers show.
You also had Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World cartoon.
I have not. Oh, okay.
Well,
So
in
I don't know, it's
comparison
kind of
to
the
the-
same show.
In comparison to the 90s cartoons, I would probably say that, I mean, like, what is it? Sad AM is an actually, like, good, like you can, like, I would say that's just a straight up good TV series. While, like, AOSTH and the other Mario cartoons are kind of, like, they're goofy, fun stuff. They're kind of like, you laugh at, like, there's a lot of them are so bad, like, especially Super Show and stuff like that are so bad they're good. So it's just kind of a case of, like, Sonic at least has at least one of that 90s era. He has one genuinely good series. So I think that's where while everything else around them is more so like a so bad it's good. Like, you laugh for nostalgia's sake.
But then again, is it fair to compare the TV shows with something that is a video game mascot? I don't know.
I wouldn't think so, but that's a difficult argument to make. I'm not gonna lie. So I can't.
Right.
I can't really have much on that one.
Should we pivot back to the games?
I kind of feel like it's only fair to talk about the games because the movies, like, and the TV show, it's just
It's so peripheral.
it is because that's dependent on the studios that are making them and who gets the rights to what, and it's
And they vary a
Yeah.
lot. Even in the same franchise, they do vary a lot.
because like every single Sonic show is you could compare those to each other.
Right.
And it's like what am I looking at? I don't know who this guy is. So the games. What would you guys say is the most differential things about what makes a Mario game versus what makes a Sonic game? Because I have my own idea of that, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
My main thing about this is I think that Mario can learn to just deviate into like a different type of story than what you're used to in the mainline video games. Like the princess gets captured, you have to go beat Bowser or whatnot. I feel like, Sonic games over the years, it hasn't always been, for better or worse, Sonic versus Eggman is the final fight. You had Sonic versus Perfect Chaos, the final Biohazard, the Biolizard, the thing from Sonic 06, what was that? I legit forgot. I legit forgot. So
the Hylian crest.
Even the people in that game don't remember it. It's a plot point.
Yeah, but so it's like Mario just tends to stick when it comes to mainline stories. Just tend to stick with the same story. I mean, it's worked for like 35 years at this point, but maybe just do something like a different final boss or a different story besides the usual princess get kidnap, go rescue.
Yeah, we should probably specify we're talking mainline entries here, of course, because like if you look at Mario, there is stuff like Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, where it is different, and it is fun because of that. But just before anyone in the comments points it out, we're mainly just looking at the mainline stuff in this conversation right now.
It's important to use those as examples because it shows that if they try, they can do decently well told story. Like it doesn't have to be super complicated. It can be simple, but as long as it's told well and integrated well into the game, that's all. That's all you need. So it's like the pre-2010 RPGs, because I think it's it's after the 2010s, which is when the RPGs ended up going for we don't want to focus on story, so they just kind of half-ass a lot of those just to focus on the gameplay, and then that's when people started being all like, we don't really like this now.
Chris, would you consider would you consider Luigi's Mansion to be a mainline? Oh my fucking god, Chris, would you consider Luigi's Mansion to be a mainline story Mario game?
Absolutely not. No, it's definitely a spin-off in my opinion. Like when I think mainline Mario, I think it's either a 3D game like 64 Sunshine, or I think it's a 2D game like Super Mario or New Super Mario. To me, everything else is a spin-off, barring maybe some specific cases, because like I was going to say 3D Land, but that's, to me, like 3D Land is a mainline Mario, even though it feels more like a spin-off. But stuff like Luigi's Mansion or Paper Mario and stuff like that, not really.
When you play these Mario games, though, when you get engrossed with them, do you even realize that you are missing a story while you're playing them? It's really only after the fact, when you compare it to other things, that you realize that there's no story. So is it even necessary?
For me, I come to video games and I appreciate stuff like that. Because to me, like, it I don't know, it just sticks out like a sore thumb with every Mario game basically being the same thing. Like, it's not very exciting to me. I get engaged by multiple aspects of a game, and when it's just it's just the gameplay, and every single game has like the same worlds, which might actually be another good thing we could bring up. It's just like... Are
you talking about aesthetics in terms of worlds? Because the gimmicks are all different in each game.
Kind of aesthetics, yeah, because like it's kind of a meme now, but like you have the grass level, the sand level, the fire level.
Totally agree on that aspect. That's people memed on Lost World about that too.
Yeah, so to me, just having like a little more flavor to kind of enrich the entire thing goes a long way. And whereas I think something like Odyssey did that, I look at 3D World and I just feel nothing from that game, even though that is a very well-made game. I just get nothing from it.
I was going to say with the thing that immediately came to mind for me is something that I feel like kind of got invalidated with Odyssey, just because I think Odyssey did this way better than everything before it, but just having like a big sense of style. Because...
Which is something that Sonic does very well.
Yeah. Like, we talked about a bit about this in the last video with... Sonic being the sort of like, carefree guy who still won't take shit from a bad guy, like he's got some style there. And I feel like Odyssey did a really good job of actually, sort of injecting some style into the 3D Mario formula. So...
Can you elaborate on that?
in Odyssey, it seems like not only is there just, like a lot of variety in the worlds, but like the worlds have a lot of soul there. You have the fact that there's a goddamn vocal theme. That, I feel like, is a big thing there. There just seems to be like a lot of flair there that you don't see in like a Super Mario Sunshine or Galaxy.
I think I know how you, because there's a lot of the thing is that Mario himself doesn't really have a character per se. So with Odyssey, like the world feels like a character. It's like they're so well like described and executed that they kind of make up for Mario's like his same kind of flat like line as usual, but the fact that his world is so like vibrant and expressive, and it's like it's like super memorable, so that makes up for it. While a 3D world, it's all just kind of the same type of level design and like trope aesthetics that you see in a lot of the other games, so it just kind of fits along with Mario's kind of meh character.
Yeah, and that's a really good way of putting it. I think Odyssey was the biggest step in the right direction in a long time for Mario.
I would agree with that, personally, because that's the game that's captured me the most, probably since Sunshine. Because I'm not usually a Mario guy at all, but those two games did a little something more for me that most Mario games didn't, is that there's just a world and a reason to care about the world, even if only because there was just a charm to it, and it was kind of a little weirder, and it felt a little more fringe than what you usually get from that series. To me, that's a big part in why I care a lot more about Odyssey than basically every other Mario game wrapped up. Even if it isn't the best designed game, I care about it the most because it makes me feel something other than just like, oh, the game's designed well and it's fun to play, which I know for a lot of people that's probably the only thing that should matter. But to me, it's like I said, I just need a bit more, and Odyssey gives that.
That's the reason why I love World so much, and why I have no idea why people like Mario 3 more than World. Because World it's such a defined like set of levels, and just the idea that you can walk along this giant map and go to all these distinct areas, and the fact that there's like a sense of like growth as you go from one section to another. It's like I love just this whole idea of like you're on a giant island and you can go everywhere on that island. It's all within just a 16-bit 2D game. Just kind of like blows my mind in a sense. While like Mario 3, it's just every level feels just kind of the same, just with the tropes being slightly different, so it isn't as memorable, and just kind of more like, oh, you're going to this one, then you're going to this one, oh, then you go to the next world. So it feels very like flat, like just doesn't have a sense of character, while World is like full with character.
Not necessarily.
Oh man.
Not necessarily.
Joe, here we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna start this
Mario
argument.
World versus Mario 3 discussion. That's not what this is about, guys.
Not necessarily.
Ooh, that's a different video. All right, more monies.
So like yeah, because the idea was that with Mario 3 and Mario World and such, where the idea is that they're trying to give the character to hide the fact that Mario doesn't really have a sense of character. They're giving the worlds themselves character for Mario to traverse through. Whereas like the whole idea with Sonic is that Sonic is like the embodiment of character and personality, and kind of putting him in through like his worlds still have a sense of character, but you can kind of see just by nature of the two, it may not stand out as much as Mario does, because it's just the world that you're traversing, while it's like your Sonic playing, while in like the Sonic games it's your Sonic in these worlds. I think it's the example of like, because I think Sonic's worlds and Mario's worlds both have like pretty defined character. It's just what happens when you have something with no character interacting with that, and what happens when you have a character whose like whole identity is based around having a very loud personality, and like you see how they kind of bounce off each other when they play like their respective levels.
That was pretty smart.
Chris, it is, yeah. Chris, you talk a lot about how the story and the worlds matter a lot to you, so maybe this next part isn't as important to you, but I guess that's sort of like why people go to the movies. They sort of are interested in different things. Like for me, whenever I go to a movie, if it's shot horribly and the acting is really shit, as long as the script is good, then I'm happy. But for other people, as long as the spectacle is great, then they're happy. So I sort of give people too much shit about why they like things. That's my character arc for today. Yeah, so we all like different things, and that's okay. So anyway.
No, it's not.
So what I love about Mario games, what Sonic doesn't really bring to the table, is the the level design, not the art. I know a lot of people think that level design has to do with the art design, but that's not the case. Level design just has to do, if you take all the art away, what are these characters jumping onto, and how does it feel? Does it teach you a new mechanic? Do you master that mechanic? And then is there a twist thrown on that mechanic for you to go, whoa, I never thought of that mechanic that I just mastered, and now it's thrown in a different way at me. How do I tackle that? Mario does that fantastically. I feel like Sonic kind of does that every now and then, but most of the time I feel like Sonic levels are kind of random.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, there's not much. I don't want to say there's no thought put into it, because there are definitely new gimmicks for every world that we go to in Sonic. And sure, you have to master them, but I feel like most people would say you have the most fun playing a Sonic level when you mastered it. So by that logic, that would mean that we're not going to have fun the first time we play it. And I don't think that's how a game should be structured.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's why I really love the way how Mario levels are set out, is that they teach you how to do it in a safe environment, then they test you how to do it later on in that same level, and then they introduce a new mechanic. Kind of like how Breath of the Wild dungeons are set up. They don't just have several big dungeons, they have a lot of tiny ones, and you sort of figure it out. Oh, this is how this works. Okay, now I can figure out this tiny puzzle. Mm-hmm. Breath of the Wild is a lot like a Mario game in a way in terms of structure. I can't wait for people to misquote me and say that Breath of the Wild is a Mario game. Thank you. But
Breath of the Wild is a Mario game. Smoothies 2020.
Thank you, Derek. Great.
No, I get what you're saying, because like, to anecdotally prove your point, aka just to support it, I feel like, assuming you're giving someone a controller that has some modicum of like game familiarity, right? If you give this to your grandma, it's going to go bad either way. But if you put like a Mario game in most people's hands, they're going to be more capable with it, I think, than if you give Sonic Unleashed to someone. Because anytime I've ever put Sonic Unleashed or Sonic Generations in front of someone, they're just dying, they're boosting into the walls, they're really struggling with Sonic.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think that Rasputin on YouTube, go check out his channel. He does this video series where he learns how his girlfriend plays video games, and she's someone who never plays games. Definitely go check him out. But it's really interesting to see how people who don't know game language, how they play games. They don't. I feel like some of us who pick up Unleashed and we say, "Oh, it's boost to win." Someone who has never played a game before, they're probably going to die several times on the first level because they don't understand game language. And I feel like Sonic relies kind of heavily on game language being sort of a norm, whereas Mario is like, maybe people have never played a game and this is their first game. We need to let them have fun too.
Yeah, Mario does seem to sort of put a bit more attention into starting from the very bottom, the common denominator of, okay, let's get you up to speed before we start like really making things interesting.
Yeah, I'd say the most shortcut way to put it would be Mario games teach you how to play with the mechanics, and then Sonic games will flash the buttons on screen and say, here are the buttons for the moves, and not necessarily how to use the moves effectively all the time. That's,
yeah.
I keep thinking of Sonic Force's first level, which is very linear, very narrow, there's walls on the side. There's not really any threat for any enemies, and weirdly, I think that might probably be one of the better introductory Sonic levels in a long time, at least, just because like I could probably give that to any of those people, and like they wouldn't at least get frustrated from dying immediately. I don't know if it teaches the game well, but it's at least more forgiving feeling.
I think that's also like why like the Mario games tend to fall, especially like the 2D ones follow that similar that aesthetic of like grass to desert and whatever, because it's like when you do grass level, because people have, oh, grass is like, it's like simple, it's easy, it's plain, so you can go ahead and like the people who've never played a game or are not good at games can play through the first world and get through it mostly fine. Then once you get to the second world, it's like, oh, this is desert, this is dry, this is rough. It's like, oh, so now it's, that, oh, I gotta like pick up the pace to make it just like, I know a lot of people that I know, like sometimes they'll only get to the second world and they'll like stop playing or whatever, and then after that it's usually the water stage. So when you get to third, it's like, oh, now it's the water, now now you really need to like learn your shit about the game, because it's like, oh, if you can't handle this part, then you're not gonna be able to handle the rest of the game. So it's like you kind of
won't be able to handle fire level.
So you can kind of see like why they do that, because it's a case of like, yeah, they're kind of making each game so that every game is accessible to everybody. Like a friend of mine, when Mania came out, he picked it up and like, yeah, he doesn't play Sonic. He plays games, but he doesn't play any Sonic games. But he heard good things about Mania, so he picked it up. He tried it out, and he was like, I just couldn't really get into it. It was a bit too hard for me, a bit too fast paced. Like I only got to like maybe like the third or fourth zone. So it's like he's like that kind of like, since Mania is very much a case of, oh, this is for the people who have played 2D Sonic games before. So it's like if you're not into that type of game, then you're not gonna get a lot out of it.
Right.
I had a similar experience with my friend Alex. I gave it to him, hyped it up. He got through Green Hill. He kind of stumbled through Chemical Plant and Studiopolis, but then he hit Flying Battery Zone. He couldn't do it. You know, he had to drop the game. Like, I gave it to him for free. I said, here, just take it, peck away at it for however long you need to, and he just never got back around to it.
Mario tends to ease the player in their games, as opposed to Sonic, where it's just like, if he just wants to punch in the face, he could. Because I think a lot of Sonic games, especially with the modern era, is that they assume that you've played a Sonic game before. Well, classic style as well, because I think Mania was a good example of that, but with Mario, you can have an easier time with them because it's like it teaches you through its gameplay, like everyone else has said. It's gradually increasing in difficulty without taking it too far, essentially, until you get to that super hard final level. Yeah, Sonic's difficulty can just range from all over the place, because even though I've been playing classic Sonic since I was young, you know, my first time I beat Mario first before I beat Sonic.
Yep. Me
so
too.
It's just, yeah, so it's like, even as a Sonic nerd who grew up with this shit, I mean, it's like I can know, it's like, if it's gonna be your first time playing through a Sonic game, you're probably not gonna have a good time. You know, you have to be invested in a game in order to just keep going. But once you get through it and learn more of it, then yeah, it gets better. But you have to go through some BS first before you can get to the good stuff.
We kind of harp on Sonic Forces, but my girlfriend, who doesn't play games at all, beat the first 2 levels of Sonic Forces without dying. There might be something with that game.
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily saying that it teaches you what to do, but I think Sonic definitely needs to ease the player into things, because this might be their first Sonic game.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of when I was talking about Green Hill in that game earlier, because like it is so straight, it is so narrow, there's not many real obstacles or danger. Like you can at least kind of get a feel for how Sonic plays in that level without the game smacking you in the head and being like, oh, you died, or oh, you ran into this random gunfire from an enemy. Yeah, random spikes.
I will say, I think that gets offset a bit by the fact that game as a whole seems pretty easy compared to a lot of other, 3D Sonic games. Yeah, so you have, the first level or two where it's, pretty easy to get into, but then it also just sort of stays at that point until you get, like, pretty far into it. I wonder if that sort of stems from the fact that you're sort of having to teach multiple playstyles.
Yeah, at most you might get to a gimmick in a level, like what's the name of that plesiosaur thing in 3D World that you jump on?
Right.
Like once in a while you get a curveball, but for the most part, you kind of know what your limits are for 90% of that game.
There's always an easy path to take, too, when they throw that new stuff at you.
Yeah.
I'd say like a better example would be something like like in the Galaxy games, where you'll have like the special galaxies where you have to use an item or a power up, or you're doing like some kind of a mini game or something like that. Like those are,
If you don't like it, you can skip it.
which is the nature of that game. But that's the nature of like collectathons in general, where it's like you don't need to play every single mission if you don't want to. You just play whatever missions you like the most. Although they're probably going to go to a point where you're eventually going to have to do some of those things.
Have we had a Sonic game where a level is optional?
Shadow, maybe?
No, other than Shadow, I can't think of an example.
Yeah, because every Sonic, pretty much every, other than Shadow, which even then that's kind of similar, like, most Sonic games are, like, very, like, linear in a sense. Like, because the 3D world, the 3D games are all very, like, they're collectathons, so you have a bunch of different worlds, you go and you collect items, those items are used to open up other worlds, so you can kind of jump back and forth to any mission, any level at any more, as long as you have enough stars or whatever to get to it. While pretty much all Sonic games and all 3D Sonic games follow like the 2D Mario and 2D Sonic games. They're very linear. You go to this level, this level, this level. Sometimes they'll give you a chance of, oh, you can play this extra level, or you can skip it by doing something. Because I know like some 2D Sonic games do that, or no, I mean 2D Mario games do that. And then
I guess it was bad for me to bring that up. That's more of an apples and oranges type thing, because Mario is like a relaxed pace thing, where Sonic is definitely not.
Yeah, it's true. Like there's never been like an actual like a Sonic open world like collectathon ish that would like an open world esque. They're always very linear.
Because you can't take away Sonic's speed if you sell a Sonic game.
Yeah.
So it's like doing a collectathon with him is hard.
Yeah, the thing is that when you're centering it around speed, you're also framing it as a get from the beginning to the end quickly.
Yeah.
And you can't really say, explore quickly, like
Yeah, I haven't thought about it yet, because I'm thinking like if you took, say for example, Sonic like just naturally like just Sonic like in his Sonic Adventure gameplay style and put him in say one of the 64 levels, like how would that change things?
Spin dash jump all the way to the end, baby.
Right? Yeah. There have been some fan games that try to explore this, but whenever I watch these fan games on YouTube, where there's like this giant open world that Sonic can run around, my only thought, even though when I watch it, I'm like, this is impressive, this looks fun, but when I see Sonic running around in these giant worlds that fans make, I'm like, but where am I going? So it's like, how do I beat this level? There's no answer to that ever. It's just Sonic running around.
God, that's not even wrong though, is the thing. But yeah, those 3D fan games, like, I try them out every now and then, and I feel like, justifiably their directive when making those things is like, how do we either put Sonic in a 3D sense? How do we put Sonic in a way we've never seen him before? Or how do we make him feel better to play in 3D than he's ever felt before? And they get there with varying results, but these tech demo things of sorts are always so much focused on that. I haven't yet played one where I'm like, I want to explore this level. It's more like, oh, it feels kind of good to do this in this level, but after like 4 or 5 minutes that wears off, and I go around to what you said, Steven. I'm like, okay, so now what?
When I got my copy of GTA 5 some odd years ago,
I cannot wait to see where you're going with this.
No,
if Sonic had a gun in a city,
no, absolutely not. That is not where. When I bought my copy of GTA 5, if you don't do the missions, you can sort of just run around and do whatever, and that's kind of fun. If you get on a motorcycle, you can go all over the map. You can take a motorcycle up a mountain. And it sort of just made me wonder, what if my character wasn't attached to a motorcycle? What if my character could just run fast all over this giant map? And that sounds really fun. I was thinking, what if there was a Sonic game where, like, if I accidentally run into a car, then I lose all my momentum, sure. But, like, if I get better at dodging, like, between traffic and stuff, that'd be fun. And let's say, I get a little beep on my radar, hey Sonic, I need you to meet up in this area. So if I run all the way across the map to go to that area, I could beat up bad guys on the way, and that technically counts as a level as me trying to meet up with that person on the other side of the map. That'd be kind of fun.
What I'm thinking of is Spider-Man PS4, but with Sonic.
Maybe.
And instead of zipping around, swinging through the city, you're running through the city.
Right. It's just that at that point, you no longer have levels.
You just have missions. I think you could probably, instead of just like one big world, you could probably break it down to like 7 smaller worlds, just like one for each Chaos Emerald or something like that. And the ultimate goal of each world is to to get the Chaos Emerald or something like that. Have just do like a mission base, have it works towards a common goal towards the end. When you're done with one world, you move on to the next, and then you keep going until
maybe
you're pretty much done. I mean, that's the idea that I'm getting. Just like
so what you're saying is there's a few individual worlds where you're going around and these worlds are really dense. There's a lot of interesting things all over the place in each one, and then eventually, once you do enough things, then you can sort of reach the objective of that world. That reminds me of Mario Odyssey.
Except bigger because Sonic is faster.
Put
Yes.
Sonic in Breath of the Wild.
Hire this man. Sega.
Hire this man.
Stop.
Yeah, the
I
Breath,
hate
Breath
that
of the
phrase so
Wild's-
much.
Breath of the Wild, because those worlds are huge, and it's like you just have I mean, and then that reminds me of the Lost World Sonic Zelda DLC. It's like that one had like a giant kind of hub world for you to run around in, and that was really fun.
My main pushback is that
Yeah, I think I share this with you.
I didn't find it was interesting because it was so different than anything 3D Sonic has given us in a long time. I don't know if I found it very fun. It felt more novel, kind of like those tech demo things. Because I feel like when I start thinking of an open world Sonic, I have to start thinking about kind of what Derek said. It has to be so densely packed and like designed to fit Sonic's abilities. Like if Sonic was just running through, like,
You'd miss a lot.
yeah, the GTA map, like, I think about like, I can't even put into words. I'm just thinking about like,
I bet I could put into words for you. It's like when you run through levels in Unleashed, like sure you can run through them really fast, but if you walk through really slow and collect everything, it's kind of like, I don't like that.
yeah, and I'm just thinking about like, because these, we agree these worlds had to be pretty big because Sonic can go really fast, and then keeping it interesting to traverse and not annoying and taking advantage of Sonic's skill set. Otherwise, it's like, why is Sonic in an open world,
Right, so Sonic Speed really defines what you make the world.
It seems like a balancing act because you want to make it open enough that you can take advantage of the character being Sonic and being fast, but you also can't have it too open and barren, or else it becomes like the thing that comes to mind is like some of the hub worlds from 06,
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
where it's just a plain with nothing there.
Yes.
Sonic's also pretty slow in that game too.
Yeah, and even if I'm thinking about the part where you're playing as Silver and just going through the giant map of nothing, but even if you were even if you were Sonic, and even if you were going really fast through that, it would still be kind of boring because you're just running through an area with nothing.
Because I almost feel like the way you'd have to design a Sonic open world, and I know this is very off our topic, but you'd almost have to make like several different Sonic stages and then find a way to overlap them. Like
I was gonna say the same thing, Chris. We are on this. We are
yeah.
resonating.
Like I'm thinking of Green Jungle, White Forest, and Sonic Adventure 2. Like that's a very expansive, long level, and it's kind of fun to see how it throws you around. But that is just one path. And like, what if under that jungle there was like a whole different stage to play with that led to a different, I don't know, lever you pull that unlocks something, or Eggman, mini boss thing. Like,
Chris, I think we could compare that to Jak and Daxter. The whole world is connected, but it's also technically divided into levels.
yeah,
Imagine if you ran through that fast. That'd be fun. Maybe. I don't know. We'd have to see.
Yeah, it would just have to be big. It would just have to be bigger to compensate for the faster movement.
yeah, and then design for Sonic, and that's really the issue. Is like, I don't know. It's like I'd have to see it to know if I want it, because when I try and think about Sonic Open World, it doesn't really sound that fun to me. But I don't think that means there's no way to do it. I just have no idea how to visualize
Interesting.
that specific.
So,
I also don't see Sonic Team being able to like putting the time and money it would need to like make these giant worlds and have them fit.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Like the very specific the Yakuza guys, maybe they could do it, but even then it's like because you aren't just simply making you're not doing the GTA, Spider-Man, Zelda, whatever thing of making a giant world, because you have like a regular sped up person just going around doing specific missions, but now you have someone who's known for being super fast, so it's like, oh, you got to have these big open worlds be accessible for the super fast guy and make it make sense and be fun. So it's like it's a tougher thing to deal with than
yeah, listening to that, yeah.
Loops and
All right,
curves
so,
and springs and homing attack chains and
Original topic. What could Mario learn from Sonic? How do we answer that?
allow the characters to have more character.
Right, so this is about character, I guess, when it comes to Mario learning from Sonic, is Sonic has more style. It has more world differentiation. It has better story, and the character is a little more fleshed out. So maybe we would like to see some more differentiation and expression or story from mainline Mario games.
For my taste, personally, that's the only thing missing from 3D Mario, barring Odyssey. So I would agree. Yes. Good summary.
Like they always like give like in the main Mario games they kind of give a slight hint at Bowser's goofiness, but nothing to the point that he is in like the fan well, not the fan animation, but like the trailers and like the little like non-canonical like jokey videos, or in the RPGs and spin-offs where he's just like a complete goof. And so like if they like played up like that kind of persona of Bowser, it'd be so much more like interesting and funnier, rather than just occasionally having him wear a goofy suit and it's like, oh, there he is, like that's
He's in a cat suit.
He's got a pimp car this time. That's it.
He's in a wedding hat.
It'd probably be nice for Mario to have like little monologues sometimes, maybe in between some levels. Not after every level, but maybe like halfway through a world or something like that.
And I'm okay with text boxes. That's fine, because I understand like you don't want to localize each voice actor for all that. Like text would be fine for that.
You know what did a good job of that? Superstar Saga.
Well, now we're going back to RPGs.
Still Mario.
Yeah.
Chris, would you like for the mainline Mario games to learn something from the spin-offs?
Oh, of course. And I think actually exactly what Derek just said. I wouldn't want a whole lot of text, but I mean, really, like everything I'm saying, Odyssey did, though, because like you'd talk to characters in Odyssey and they'd have weird little quips, or you'd sit next to the guy on the bench and you'd get rewarded for doing with it. You know, he's sad and having a bad day, no one pays attention to him, and you pop down next to him, you don't say anything to him, and he's just like, oh, that meant a lot, here you go. So, I guess to answer your question, I have no idea, but Mario Odyssey did it well.
I would like to see them go and have a mainline Mario game and not have Bowser as the final boss. I think that would be just a interesting thing just to go for. It's like, I mean, like, because like with Sonic, is that Sonic's whole thing is that they started like having like introducing these new both Monster of the Week and new villains for them to face. Then people got tired with it, so they brought back Eggman. And then Eggman's the final boss, and then now people are tired of it because like they've been doing it for so much. So it's that sense of variety. It's like I think it would be cool like if they can throw like with the RPGs and spin-offs where they have these new like fun, interesting villains which they throw in like for you to fight and face off against, and like Bowser is either there in the background doing his own thing, or he gets involved to help Mario fight the boss. So it's like, oh, you do try that, and like wouldn't it be funny in like a 3D Mario game to end with a fight other than Bowser and Mario and Bowser team up to fight it? Like that would just blow my mind.
I got 3 words for that. Bring back Wart.
Wart would be good.
Wart's not real. Like he was a dream.
But you see, all the other Birdo, Shy Guys, all those other characters in Mario 2,
Mario's imagining them, Stefan. They're not real.
Still real to me, damn it.
Wart is in Subcon. Subcon is a real world.
I would like to see, I think this would be a very easy in-universe thing for Mario to do that wouldn't feel too weird. I'd like to see Bowser Jr. get carried away, and Mario and Bowser have to team up to stop Bowser Jr.
Ooh.
Chris, that's an excellent idea. I love that.
Nintendo, hire this.
So like Sonic Heroes.
Yeah, actually.
I'm tired of your shit, Eggman.
Wow.
Green mustache data successfully copied.
Oh my god.
All right.
So what if there is anything can Mario learn from Sonic?
Cohesion and direction.
Confidence.
Confidence?
I think confidence.
How do you teach that?
So I think that when you have one of the real big mainline Mario games, you have an Odyssey or you have a Super Mario Galaxy, it's like it seems like they know absolutely exactly what they're trying to do, and they have everything thought out, and it seems like they have a really, really solid and
if you asked,
sort of cohesive goal they're going for.
If you asked me, I'd use the word direction instead of confidence.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking more confidence in terms of just like the actual, creation of the game
Correct.
and where the game is going. And yeah, direction is a really good way of putting it. It seems like it seems more apparent in Forces than a lot of things where like it doesn't exactly know what it's trying to do. It's trying to do too many things at the same time. It sort of goes back and forth, and it doesn't seem as satisfying as a result.
Which sounds like our previous discussion.
Yeah.
Go check out what we expect from Sonic in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, what Sonic can learn from Mario is such an easier topic, though, because like, what I would like to see, at least, Sonic take from Mario is that I feel like Mario games are made from a point of, what feels fun, what will be fun, how can we design a level,
What is a game?
like, what is a game, like, how can we elicit joy from the player by designing a level this way or making them feel these things throughout a level. And I feel like I can at least always get that from Mario, and with Sonic, I don't feel like necessarily most of their games are created from that angle. I don't know what angle some of these Sonic games are fucking created from, but, some of these, I'd say like Mania was probably designed like that, even if maybe it was just kind of relying on referential stuff to elicit some of that joy. Like, that felt like a game where they kind of thought more about the design of the levels and the design of the game. Even Lost World in that game just feels like such a fucking white noise game to me. Like, I don't really know why anything in that game was the way it was. You know what I mean?
Yes. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's these harder, more intangible, nebulous concepts that I have trouble, like, distilling into sentences, but I would just like to see more thought put into the design of the next Sonic game, as opposed to it just feeling like a smorgasbord of various, fucking things thrown together just to see if any of it sticks, when most often it doesn't.
When you look at Scrap Brain Zone on Sonic 1, you have these sort of like circles. And if you run on them, then you can sort of run along them. And it seems sort of against the rules of gravity and all that. But wouldn't it be fun if they introduced that to you in a safe environment, and then they test you to see if you can master it, so that you can get across the level with it? They're just sort of there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what separates a Sonic game from a Mario game. So I think Sonic definitely should learn how to build a level. What I think Sonic would, if they got together and just asked each other, "What is a game?" Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
I think what Sonic can learn is that, in all honesty, just less can be more.
Yes.
There's a reason why Mario has been ongoing for 35 years strong with the mainline games, 2D or 3D, because with the 2D, it's been the same way for 35 years. But why has it always been like that? Because it works. So So with Mario, they stick to what works and doesn't try to deviate too far off from the path. Now, yeah, that could be considered playing it too safe or bland or anything like that. But Mario's still pretty successful in terms of, like, overall popularity, financially, and all that stuff. Sonic, while still popular, he's hit quite a few bumpy roads and probably almost had like a coffin in a nail for him a couple of times throughout his career. So with Sonic, I think Sonic can learn is that just, less can be more, and just stick with what works.
I would compare Sonic to Taco Bell. I would say
it's shit.
I am very interested to hear what you have to say about that.
When you go to Taco Bell, you go for the value menu because you know it's cheap and you know it's going to fill you up and you know it's going to be fine.
And you know you're going to hate the way you feel after.
Damn right.
But when you go to Taco Bell, you can get fries. But do you go to Taco Bell to get fries? No. You go to McDonald's. Yeah, you might spend a little more, but you know you're going to walk away happier than going to Taco Bell.
Or with Taco Bell, you could walk away over there and just walk out with the drizzling shits.
Yes, Sonic gives you diarrhea. That's our takeaway.
Wrong.
Yeah, no. Sonic is like Taco Bell because they're both a gamble. You never know what you're gonna come out feeling.
Oh shit!
Taco Bell is always throwing weird shit at their menu and being like, I don't know, taco fries? Fuck, I don't know. See if it works.
Doritos
tacos.
Dorito taco.
Yeah.
Please make sure for the thumbnail of this video you just have a singular taco in the corner with like nothing else there, just a taco in the corner.
Chris, how do we close this?
We all know Sonic is actually Olive Garden.
Stefan, how do we close this?
I think that's how we close it. Again,
In conclusion,
Derek, how do we close this, Derek?
Uh,
Adrian, how do we close this?
okay.
someone
well,
have a solution, damn it.
Well, final thoughts on Sonic and Mario series and what you think is better.
Excellent suggestion. I feel like Mario is more consistent. I prefer Mario when it comes to Sonic because I feel like I would much rather choose Mario over Sonic because I'm way more confident in purchasing a Mario game versus purchasing a Sonic game. I get more excited about Mario games than I do about Sonic games because I know they're not going to throw any curveballs at me and that I know that every level will be different and challenging in its own way, and that's why I like to go to it. I'm sure Sonic will provide a better story, maybe not sometimes, but
what I'll say is that Mario is overall the better franchise, just in terms of variety and the game itself, just consistent quality, like you mentioned. I mean, like Mario World, Galaxy 1 and 2, Odyssey, for jumping off spin-offs, Thousand Year Door, like other stuff. Like those are like some of my favorite and some of the best games of all time, just right off the bat right there. Meanwhile, Sonic, while I love Adventure 2, Unleashed, 3 and Knuckles, would I say they're some of the best games of all time? No, not really. But I think just Sonic as a personality and just the sense of what his games do and what they bring, I feel like I like Sonic more, even if I consider Mario as a franchise and certain Mario games specifically are much better, like overall, than Sonic.
and now they're both on Nintendo.
Right.
They both went to the non-existent 2020 Olympic Games.
Well, Steph, we don't know that yet, Stefan.
No, it's the 2020. It's the 2021 Olympic Games.
Just put a sticky note on it. They'll fix it.
I want them to re-release that, just the exact same game, but just everything, just a little sticky note that says 2021.
just cross it out with Sharpie.
Mario and Sonic at the 2020 Olympic Games Plus. Now with Mighty and Ray.
This may be sort of the deviation here, but I think that I would rather play a shaky Sonic game than a solid Mario game, just because of the character that you see in a Sonic game and the style that you see in a Sonic game. Even if I know that the Mario game is going to be more mechanically solid, more design-wise, they're doing what they should be doing. They're doing the right things. I don't know. I would still rather play a Sonic game that is, less so well designed, just because it would have more character to it.
Fascinating, because I feel that way about The Last of Us. A lot of people say that The Last of Us is a watered-down Nathan Drake game, but it's more story-focused. And I'm much more interested in The Last of Us versus Nathan Drake, which is apparently a better series than The Last of Us. But yeah, that's interesting how I am going against my own rules.
I mean, it's also like the thing of like Last of Us and Uncharted are both fairly similar games that play similarly and by the same studio, whilst Mario and Sonic are their platformers, but they play very differently and by two different companies. So it kind of makes sense why you would compare Last of Us and Uncharted to different barometers by how you feel versus Mario and Sonic, which are pretty different.
Even though I love Sonic to death, I really do, and I'm like a Sonic nerd essentially, I can't, I'm not going to hide the fact that Mario is a better franchise than the Sonic series in terms of consistency. A lot of times when I do go back to video games, if I feel like going back to something classic, usually it ends up being a Mario game 9 times out of 10. Like, not that I don't go back to old Sonics or anything like that, because I go back to those just as often. I'm still going to enjoy a Sonic game regardless, and there's games on both sides in which I haven't even touched. For me, it's more of like a personal bias that I would lean more towards Sonic, but I'm not going to hide the fact of Mario's success and his games and how great those are as well, especially the mainline 3D ones.
Chris, you've been a little bit quiet the last 2 hours.
Yes.
How do you feel about Mario versus Sonic?
I would like to see Sonic learn from Mario's design principles, and I would like to see Mario you loosen up a little bit and take more from Sonic's style and sense of flair, as was said earlier. I think that's really what it comes down to for me.
Nice.
It's because I don't really have any issue with Mario's design. It's just, it's very stone-faced most of the time. Like, it has charm, but I'd like to see a little more flair in it. And of course, when it comes to Sonic taking from Mario's design principles, as we discussed, it's pretty shaky ground, so,
Oh, I know how to compare this. This is yin and yang. Sonic is more chaotic. Mario's a little more structured.
Bingo.
Yeah. So my ideal thing would be for the, not a complete middle ground, but I'd like to see them equal out a little more as someone who's interested in both series.
Yeah. All right, we figured it out, guys. We saved the world. We did it.
Save the franchise.
Sega Nintendo, hire this man. Okay.
All right, everybody. I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay.
All right. Hey,
Stop on the recording.
thank you.
Derek, Adrian, thank you for joining us. Any plugs again?
Yeah. So on Twitter, you can find me at twitter.com/DerekMK. That's DerekMK. And on Twitch, you can find me doing speedruns of games about the best toy franchise of all time, Bionicle, at bionicle.church.
The only true religion.
My Twitter at that1 MI Gamer. MI being the acronym for the state of Michigan. On YouTube, I'm Adrian the Awesome One as well. I do mainly LPs.
All right.
Nice.
That'll be a wrap for us FTCR boys. End this video.
Cool.
All right.
I like how I said it like we're going away.
Stefan, you wrap us up for once.
I'm too busy wrapping up this present I was going to give to you, so...
Wait, are you mailing me a present?
Now he is.
End the
You're
video.
committed now.
It's is it a bomb?
Lamp oil, rope, bombs.
By